Hey everyone, Jerry here. Thanks for coming back to my channel, and I am absolutely thrilled to finally be able to bring to you the Written on Purpose author series for 2021. So y'all, this has been a project that I have been working on for months. For those of you who have been a part of the ONYX Pages community, you'll know that ever since the very beginning of this channel, I have brought to you author spotlights, author interviews, author chats with writers of Black speculative fiction with a particular focus on African futurism, Afrofuturism, and all sorts of different corners in that Black SFF world. And it's been my absolute pleasure to do that. But this year I wanted to do something a little bit different. This year, I wanted to focus on something a little bit more structured. I wanted the conversations with these authors to come at you in a bingeable type way. And I also wanted the conversations to kind of speak to each other. So we are still in the pandemic, so all of the interviews took place over Zoom, but they are woven together in a kind of booktubementary kind of way. And yes, I created the term booktubementary. If you see it somewhere else, make sure they use the hashtag inspired by, because I did that. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit more about what Written on Purpose is about. So on its face, Written on Purpose is 10 author interviews with writers of Black science fiction and fantasy with a predominant voice, a predominant queer voice in that group. Not all of the authors are queer, but most of them are. And all of these authors are in conversation with me. I read their works, met with them online, and talked to them about a number of different things. Each interview has a very different feel to it. Each interview has some different questions, but there were kind of like three main topics I wanted to talk about with everyone. So the first topic that I covered with all of the authors is what was your writing journey? How did you become a writer? How did you give yourself permission to write this piece of work, but to write generally, to write what you write about? So all of the authors that I talk to will tell you about their journey. They'll tell you about when they decided that they wanted to focus on Black spec fic, when it was difficult, when it was easy, and there's some really interesting morsels of information there that you'll get from all of these authors. The second question that I asked each of the authors was, why this book, or why this collection of books? So in each interview, we will be focusing either on the latest release of that particular writer, their latest series, or what their work in progress is right now. I'm hoping that this particular question will help you get into the minds of the people that you're reading, to learn a little bit more about the thought process behind creating the story, the actual process of putting it out in the world, and some of their hopes and challenges around writing the particular work that we'll be talking about. And then the last question that I asked everyone was, what's next for you? So BookTube is a community of readers. We are always interested in following authors we adore, that we're interested in. And I don't know about you, but I always want to know what I can look forward to. What can I put on my list of 2022 anticipated reads or 2023 anticipated reads? And I made sure that in every conversation with these authors, I asked what we could be looking forward to, and will include information on how you can get in touch with those authors if you want to learn more about their writing, where you can find them in community and be a part of their world, and just generally who they are. I want to talk to you a little bit about the structure of each of the videos, because like any booktube-umentary should do, I've made sure that there are opportunities for you and I to engage, and also opportunities for you to engage with people you know through social media. So the structure of the interviews, sort of 3 parts. The first part is just an intro where I tell you, I welcome you, I do the thing, I tell you who we're going to be interviewing that day, and then we just kind of transition into the interview itself. Maybe I'll read a biography, or maybe I'll talk a little bit about the book. We'll do that first. The second part of the interview is going to be the actual interview itself. And what I've done this year is made sure that I've broken up the interviews with titles so that you can see sort of the topics that we'll be talking about. And if I get my act together, we will make sure that there will be chapters in the descriptions, but I do hope that you watch the videos all the way through. And then the final part of each video, this is a part that I'm super excited about. It's going to be a reflection time. So let me get it. Now, as you may know, I am an absolute lover of Octavia E. Butler, and what I'm going to be doing after each interview is just taking a minute to reflect on camera a little bit about the conversation. Many of them happened a couple of months ago. I'm a different woman now, so I have thoughts about what we talked about. I might have questions. I'll definitely have questions that you can answer in the comment section of each video, but we'll be pulling a card. So for every video, I'm going to be pulling one of the cards from the Harvest of Survival and Affirmation deck inspired by Octavia Butler. And each of the, I'll show you an example right now. Each of the cards actually has a beautiful cover, and then on the back it has an Octavia E. Butler quote, and it also has a reflection question. So what I'll be doing for each one is reading the reflection question, maybe connecting the question to something that was said in the interview, and then invite you to answer that question in the comments or answer it in the live if you're watching the show as it premieres. And because there's more, for each video, each of the 10 author interviews that I do, I will be selecting one comment to be the winner of a 2022 reading planner by Melanin Eclectic. And if you haven't had an opportunity to see the improvements and the enhancements that Brittany made to her 2021 planner, then I'll link the card here or here so you can check it out. And all you've got to do to be eligible to win is to make sure that you enter a really interesting comment. And you know what, let me make it a little bit difficult, because let me do a couple of things. So number 1, make sure that you comment below the video. 2, make sure that you like the video. 3, make sure that you are a subscriber to ONYX pages. And then 4, make sure you share the video on social media. So if you do those 4 things, then you will be entered into the contest to win a planner, and there are 10 planners to be won. The planners will be pre-ordered, and you will receive them when she sends them out, which I think is going to be in October, if I'm not mistaken. So that's the structure of each of the videos. Why written on purpose? As you know, I end most of my videos with remember to read with purpose. Reading with purpose for me means making sure that you're being very thoughtful and intentional about the books you borrow from the library, that you buy, that you ask for on your birthday, and to be mindful about how you're engaging your imagination. As I've said before, if we do not imagine on purpose, people will imagine for us. And as Black queer folks, it's very important that we take responsibility for the ideas, the characters, the worlds that we're building, the conflicts that we're taking up, that we take responsibility for all of those things, and we make sure that what we put out in the world and what we consume actually serves us and the people we love. So reading with purpose, and for anybody who's followed my 7 calorie shell rating system knows that reading with purpose is very much about that. It is an exercise of writing into our work and reading into everything that we have in front of us, the centrality and importance of Black folks with a particular focus on Black queer folks. I'm a Black queer woman. I'm married to a Black queer woman. I come from a Black woman, and I really value everything that Black women have to offer, everything that Black folks have to offer, and why not? Why not focus our reading in that particular way? Now, I will tell you that not all of the authors will agree with that perspective. Some authors really focus on having characters that were Black and queer. Some authors aren't as interested in centralizing race, and I get into that in some of my questions. So I think that this is going to be a really dynamic and interesting opportunity for us as a community to really engage with writers in the way that I like to. And I think in the way that really just honors the work. Sometimes we forget that writers spend months, years, decades sometimes to get a particular book out. So why not take the time to honor their labor, to express gratitude for what they've written, and to make sure that they're encouraged to do more. That's what ONYX Pages is about, and that's what Written on Purpose is intended to do. So I hope that you enjoy this journey. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the comments. Bye.